Next order of business is my report, and I told Roxanne before the meeting that I didn't have much. She reminded me that I always say that, and I always talk too much, so I'll try to be brief tonight. But I have 2 cards that I'd like to read, and these are thank you cards from individuals that the town has sent remembrances to for being sick and bereavement. Mrs. Lily Shires would like to thank Mayor Unroe and the town council for the beautiful flowers. She really liked them. Thank you for your kindness. It says, I will never forget your kindness, Lily L. Shires. She was in the hospital. I understand she's home now doing pretty well as she can be expected. So, but if you get a chance or something and you see her out, speak to her and wish her well. And then the other one, God has 2 dwellings, one in heaven and the other in a thankful heart. Thank you all for the flower arrangement in memory of my sister's passing, Ann Erskine. And Ann lost her sister a month ago, Richard?
Yes, just a little bit over.
Very suddenly, and we sent her a little flower arrangement just to let her know we were thinking about her. And in the meantime, former councilperson Ronnie Dowd has been in the hospital, had bypass surgery at Roanoke Memorial. I understand that he has gone home with his nephew, Bobby? Niece.
She's a nurse.
To North Carolina and is doing really, really well. And I was told today that he'll be back in Iron Gate at home in about 2 weeks. And we have sent him a card, and when he gets home, we'll send him a little something to let him know that we're thinking about him. And along those same lines, Richard, your brother is sick?
Well, my brother is sick and brother-in-law is home after bypass surgery. He was a resident of this town for a while. But my brother is, we're not sure. We're waiting right now on the results of catheterization and stents being put in.
Well, we'll keep you in our thoughts. Okay, first thing I want to talk about tonight is with all this rain that we've had, we had no overflow of manholes, which is kind of unusual for us. Usually you can count on the one over here at 4th and Market overflowing, but I checked it last night, Junior checked it early this morning, so we had no overflows to report to DEQ today. So that was good. That was a shock, but that was good.
How about last week?
We reported 1 at 4th and Market to DEQ. In fact, he told me that he took the basic information and he would call me back when he got caught up after all the rain to get the rest of the information. So, we had a water leak on 10th Street, actually under the pavement in 10th Street. The town crew discovered it last Wednesday when it was determined that we had to dig up the asphalt. Of course, we had to contact VDOT. VDOT gave us a permit authorization to do that and permitted it to us after the fact. That's what the $1,300 on our unpaid bills for Jerry Johnson was. We just didn't have anything to dig up the pavement with, so we had to call them down here. They've got it patched back, and eventually though we'll have to put some asphalt over top of that after it settles in. But they got that fixed in 1 day and everything back up and running. We've had some calls for grass not being cut, and we thought we would wait just a little while, let this rain get out of here and actually give them a chance to have some weather to cut some grass before we sent those letters out. But we have a list of properties that we're watching. And if they're not cut in the next few days, they will get a letter reminding them that they need to cut the grass. And if anybody in here sees an area that needs to be cut or it needs attention, please don't hesitate to let Roxanne know so we can get the letter out to them. Bobby, I don't know what type of activities y'all have had going on up at the fire department, but I've been getting probably at least one phone call from the Balsers every other day. And Junior's had to be down here 3 times to bleed the line off to get the mud out. And it's always after hours, it's always in the evening time. So I don't
Well,
know.
it's not the hydrant at the firehouse,
Okay,
because they were cross-tracked doing some pumped out training. Had a couple of nights working with the tanker back and forth with the pumpers, and, but it's been on the other side of the track.
and that brings me to the other problem.
Yeah,
And that is a resident on the Tannery Road has called today and complained about the damage to her front yard where y'all were backing the tanker in to get access to the hydrant. And the town crew had already noticed it, hadn't they, Roxanne, and identified the
Yeah, she
problem.
said she's seen Journey and them out there looking at it,
Um,
but,
no,
yeah,
I talked to some of the folks at the firehouse.
Okay.
I think she said something to the firehouse guys
Yeah,
too.
but, and Junior and Wayne have the dirt and stuff, they're gonna fix that. That's not an issue, but just wanted you to be aware, everybody to be aware that we were on top of things with that. The river park, we had a problem. We didn't realize we created a problem, but I guess we inadvertently did, in that we were contacted several months ago by Ferrum College, or an outfitter representing Ferrum College, to allow a group of conservation students who were floating the river to spend the night at our river park. It says right on our permit that as long as they have authorization, you can camp over there. And there's been camping over there for years. There was a gentleman and his granddaughter who used to come up from Richmond and camp over there for the weekend at times. We felt like this was a good group, a good effort to support studies of the river and the Upper James River, and even more so after I found out that this was a group that was in the middle of a 5-week process of traveling the rivers, and they were going to go down 7 different rivers in the state to study those rivers and compile information and compare the data. As soon as they started setting their tents up at 4:30 that afternoon, there was a call placed to Town Hall here and left on the recorder that there were tents going up, and if they didn't hear back from the town within an hour, they were going to call the police. Police were called. The officer went down, investigated, found out that this group had presented their permit to be there to the complainant, and also presented it to the deputy at the park. He reviewed their paperwork, found out that they were in compliance, had a right to be there, told them to have a good night and respect the neighbors. And Chris, we never heard any more after that, right? It was over and done. But the next morning, we got a phone call here about the use of the river park. We didn't do anything out of the ordinary. We didn't do anything that shouldn't have been done. Hindsight being 20/20, probably should have notified the property owners on each side of the park that there would be a group of students staying there that night. And if we ever do anything like that in the future, we will make an effort to notify them. And at Randy's suggestion at the work session, I have drafted and mailed a letter to this outfitter that's been our contact person, apologizing on the town's behalf for there being a confrontation of their students.
Something else that we might do is notify the sheriff's department that we have permitted campers on the ground camper this weekend. That would eliminate some problems.
Somebody having to go over there, and like I said, hindsight being 20/20.
What y'all do is notify the complainant and give her the list of rooms over there and tell her to
just stay over
on
there
her
and
side of the
and
fence.
leave us alone.
It doesn't matter, it could have been a group of priests. It doesn't matter.
You're right. You're exactly right. But I wanted everybody to be aware of what had happened and realize that we had addressed it and have dealt with it. And while we're talking about the parks, Chris, you and I have talked about the playground, and Jimmy, you've talked about the playground, and everybody that lives down there by the playground's talked about the playground. And y'all are gonna try to step up your efforts to be down here at night and observe and be there to see what's going on. The bottom line on the playground or the river park, those parks close at dark. Anybody that's in the parks after dark is trespassing. And I know it's hard to catch them, especially hard to catch them when you turn down Railroad Avenue and they see the headlights coming and they jump back across the fence or go out the back way. I understand that. But they are trespassing after hours. So any help that y'all could give us on that would be greatly appreciated. Okay. Roxanne, are the computers for our library ready? Let's go ahead and see if we can get them set up. In here, we've got 2 computers that were in the police office back here. We had a computer programmer come in, clean those up, get them operational, and it was requested that we have some computers in here and make it known for residents and teenagers to be able to come in and use the computers. We will have to be vigilant though when they're in here to monitor their activities. Joe, you might know how to restrict what they can get to and what they can't get to on the
Well, I was just gonna
internet.
ask, where are you setting those up?
Where do you think we
I
should?
think the table right there would be good,
Okay.
where the screen is facing her.
Can you kinda help her do that, set that up?
And Chuck, if I may say too, y'all probably need to, when people come up here to use those, to save yourself civilly, they probably need to sign some kind of agreement. So you have a record, and not only that, if they do get onto a website, I mean, it could come back an IP address if they were on a site they shouldn't be at,
Okay.
cause you a little bit of flack, so you might wanna really know who's there and have them sign off on that.
Do y'all by chance have a template or anything for that? Or you know where we could use it?
Joey probably does, he,
Okay, do you mind helping set that up? Let's not set any computers up till we get all this in place, so. Okay. All right,
Do you want headphones for them, or just people bring their own headphones? Well, I know the library in Clifton has headphones. What do you think?
I don't know, whatever y'all think it needs to be.
We'll scrounge up a couple of sets.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll probably have a copy too.
Gary, last month, you actually asked about having a shredder come for shredding documents and things. And I happen to think after that, we have back here a commercial shredder. And it's still back there?
That big one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That came from the rubber plant when they closed down. And we could get the guys to get that set up on a drum or some type of container and offer it to our citizens at no charge, and you could just bring whatever you wanted to shred down here and shred it here whenever you wanted to, at your convenience.
Could have a day when everybody could come.
Everybody can come, yeah. That was actually donated to us. They were cleaning out some of the offices and things over there, and it was brought by here, and at first we were like, what are we ever gonna do with that? And then we thought, well, we'll take it. And it operates and it's fine. We just need to figure out a barrel or something to put it on so the paper has somewhere to go. So,
Well, on television news, lots of times where somebody would sponsor one of these events, you know, all day at Walmart or Kroger's or somewhere like that. And they get tons and tons of
Shredding and
stuff people bring.
if you like we are, you got boxes of it, you don't know what to do with it, so you wind up either burning it or what have you, so. But that'll be a start, we'll have that here, get that done.
We was hooked up on a big wire basket over there with plastic bags in it to catch it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And the person that brought it to us actually said he got the wire basket somewhere, but we gotta find it. So, but we'll rig something up.
So I had to empty it out every time.
Oh, you're familiar with it then? Okay. We also have been talking about the police equipment. I've gotten one estimate for that. We really need to have two more. One of the people that we thought were coming to take a look at it decided they didn't want to do that. The gentleman, Mr. Howard in Covington, is going to come down and take a look, and then we'll have to find a third person so we can compare. But the first person that came down, he's interested in helping us do something with it, and he's given us an estimate of what he thinks it would be worth, and we'll wait till we get the other two before we go any further with that, see what we wind up doing with the police equipment.
Do you not want to share that?
I'd rather have all the estimates before we do that.
Did you
That's
do it in
okay.
one lot, or you'll separate the firearms?
His estimate is in one lot. If we decide to do, if council decides to do something with it, I think it's going to be better served for the town to separate it and do it that way. And I also want to sit down and talk to these people and find out what the liability is if they actually just take these on consignment for the town and sell them for the town. The town can't sell them directly to somebody. They have to go through a firearms agent for the qualification process and background checks. And I want to have all that in place before I share any numbers with anybody. Bobby has gotten a couple of letters from Bill Wilson and the Jackson River Preservation Association. And what they're trying to do is show interest and concern over the proposed Atlantic Coast Pipeline that Dominion is proposing to build through the state of Virginia. And Vice Mayor Daniel has agreed to represent the town of Iron Gate on a tour of that proposed right-of-way. And I really thought that that would probably be sufficient. We really didn't need to say anything else about it until I read today's Roanoke Times. And there was an article in the Roanoke Times today where the DEQ admitted or said, revealed, I should say, that they had misspoken about how their involvement in the approval and inspection of this route was going to be, and have turned it all back mainly to the Corps of Engineers under a blanket permit that the Corps has. So instead of the DEQ being heavily involved in the impact and effect on every stream and river and wetland that the pipeline goes across, they're going to take a back seat to the Corps of Engineers and come under the umbrella of the blanket permit. Jazzy, you might know a whole lot more about this type of procedure than I would as far as permits and things, but having read that, I felt like that everybody should know that everybody from the Highlands is taking an interest in it, every locality is involved, And Mr. Wilson is representing the Highlands with this group to have the concerns, objections, support, what have you, noted and on record for the pipeline. So, Bobby, anything you want to add to that? You are still able to go, right,
Yeah,
on the
you want to?
6th? I'm going to do my very
Yeah,
best to go. But this is all the documentation that he sent thus far on it, so it's a worthwhile thing for us to be interested in.
All the governing bodies that are surrounding all this proposed work, or on their properties or going through their counties, have all been contacted, and they just want to be able to, I guess, show and explain their reasons, show us where the pipeline is going to go, what right-of-way it is, and what is there, and probably have a little, there's probably going to be a little session, presentation about probably what their heartburn is about, with runoff and with proposed erosion areas, et cetera. So that's why the town got invited with all the other localities.
Anything else?
Now, we haven't taken a stand one way or another, yes or no, with the pipeline, and I'm not.
We really don't know enough about it to take a stand. We just want to be noted as being present. And last month, each council member got a new ordinance, a revised taxation ordinance packet to review. I'm going to be honest, I have not had time to get all the way through it. It's pretty thick. But I would like to see us be able to hold the first public hearing on this revision at next month's council meeting at 7 o'clock after the budget meeting.